Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. If you're new here, my name is Elena and I am the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos. Here on the channel we talk about everything from homeschooling to homemaking, all the things in between. Today we're going to be talking about our goals for June, and I can hardly believe we're already coming up on June. So June will be halfway through the year. Wow. And I mean, in some ways I can see where I'm like, wow, are we only halfway through? Because I don't know, it's been a lot. And in other ways I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're already here and halfway through. It's a mix of feelings. Let me know if you feel the same. But I wanted to talk a little bit about my goals coming up for the month of June and a quick wrap up of May goals. So if you haven't seen my May goals video, if you haven't seen any of them and you want to take a look at how it's going, where it started and where we're at now, I will, I think I have a playlist. I will link the playlist up in the cards if there is a playlist. If not, I'll just link the last video for you if you want to go back and take a look at that. But I'm typically setting goals in some major areas of my life, and that's how I like to break it down for me. It just helps me clarify and see that. So at the beginning of the year, I sat down with my husband actually, and we did some family type goals for the beginning of the year. And then I will typically sit down with myself and go over last month and what I want to accomplish for this month, or what I'm looking forward to putting on my inspiration, I guess. I usually start with faith. So in my faith goals, I'm kind of hesitant to say they're goals. It's more what I'm inspiring to do. My main goal always is to grow closer to Christ and to get to know him better, and just to be closer, really. And so my goals will kind of reflect that, and sometimes they can be more definitive things where I want to complete a certain Bible study, or I want to complete a certain book, and sometimes they can be a little bit less constrictive maybe, or a little less rigid. And so for me, I just wanted to continue seeking him. I wanted to kind of get into a new morning routine. I'm working hard, and I think that that's what I'm going to put in for the month of June, is that it's going to intertwine with my faith, but I need a new morning routine. As the seasons change, I find that I want to switch up my morning routine with the seasons. Also, having young children who don't always sleep very well. Now my youngest is not a baby by any means, but he still sometimes will struggle with sleeping. And quite honestly, we've gone through that with all of our kids. Even my teenager was having a bout and a round of just trouble sleeping and things like that. And I just find as we expose ourselves to more news, and we're still processing that and things like that these last couple of years, it's really taken a toll on our family sleep patterns. I don't know if that's the same for everybody, but I do know that a lot more people are experiencing anxiety and depression, and it is just really, really rough. And it is really hard when it interrupts sleep, and then you have that to deal with on top of it, because lack of sleep just changes so much in your body, right? But that's not what this video is about. My video is about in the morning. So in the morning when I rise, I want to first seek him, and I need a new morning routine. And so I'm going to be working on that for the month of June. I also want us to continue, for May, I wanted us to continue trying out the new church that we were going to. We were able to go a couple more times, but for the month of June, what I would really like to do is work on making some connections. I have not really found close friends out here, and I'm sad to say that some of my very closest friends, we've kind of lost touch. And I think that that kind of goes with distance and things like that. And life, you know, I'm sure that when I call them up, it does feel like no time has passed at all, or no distance, but it is hard to reach out. And I would just like to have a couple of girlfriends here that I could, you know, have coffee with or text throughout the day, especially for those harder days, but for those great times too, to just be like, are you just loving today's weather? Or, you know, little things like that. So I want to really put myself out there, which can be difficult for me. Dealing with social anxiety and things like that, it can be hard, but I really want to pray on this and just try harder to make some connections with other women in the church, and really anywhere, not just in the church, just other people in the neighborhood as well, and things like that. So that is going to be kind of my faith tie-in goals. I'm gonna dive right into financial. It has been a mess. We were supposed to have a no spend or low spend May, and that just went right out the window. So I'm gonna try again for June. Now that's gonna be difficult because as the weather gets warmer and nicer, we're gonna wanna go out and about places. And I believe that my husband is hoping to take some time off and just kind of have like a staycation with the kids. We really relish when we are able to have like our whole family time being when Daddy's home from work, because his work hours we don't get that much during the week with him and that many hours together. But so I want us to really sit down and have a budget meeting. We do typically, my husband and I will have budget meetings, but I want to sit down and have a lengthier one and go over what our goals are coming up in the next few years, what we hope to accomplish, or what we hope and how we want to go about getting to those accomplishments, how we want to go about trying to reach these goals. Now, we have done these meetings before and we have saved and saved and saved for certain things, and then something will happen in life and the savings will get wiped out. And so we know going into this that is a very good possibility that things could happen, but we are trusting and praying, and we will just do our part. And so I just want to sit down though and still sit down and write out our goals, and what God will do with it, He will do with it. So we're okay with that. It can be tough. That we've had some pretty lean, tough times, but we still are holding on to some of these dreams I feel like that He's placed in our heart. And so we want to talk further on that and just kind of map out, I guess, how we want to go about getting these goals accomplished. And part of that is going to be building up a savings again, and seeing if we can get any step closer to owning a home or owning a little place of our own. For our homeschooling goals, this month, these last few weeks, really our weather the last couple of weeks turned up a few notches, and our local schools are finishing up school. So as I record this, our local school finished their last week. Our local public schools finished their last week of schools, and it has just hit us too, but we are not quite finished yet. But we have taken a few more days off, and I'm not really mad at it. I'm enjoying it. There's something about good weather that makes you want to just step back and be like, we just need a little bit of a break. And I love the freedom of homeschooling because we can just pick right back up and get to it. And so with June, I just want to make sure that we're finishing strong our homeschool year and kind of wrapping it up. I do have on the schedule a high school meeting with my high schooler, so we can talk about how our first year of high school went and what we're looking forward to and what we're looking towards in the summer and our next year of high school. So that is on the books. It was a goal for, I believe it was even a goal for April, but for sure it was a goal for May, and we're going to end up doing that the last weekend of May. So we'll just make that cutoff there for May goals, but it'll probably leak into June as well. So we're going to sit down and talk about this and then finish strong in June. I did for May want to rearrange the homeschool area. It became this area where things were just getting thrown and dumped, and it still kind of is, and it could use some tweaking, but I was able to get in and do a cleanup. I will have a video of that. If it's not up yet, it probably won't be. It'll come out within the next few weeks. So make sure you're subscribed and your bell notification is hit if you want to see that redo of the room so that you don't miss that video. But I was able to get that homeschool area reset, and that was something that I wanted to do for me. Now for my health for June, I do sit down typically and write out a little bit more in depth what my health fitness goals were, especially because this last month I went on a cutting series or a calorie deficit, and I am really excited to say that I definitely saw improvements, and there was just, it was exciting. So I will link a video if you want to see more on the update of that. But going forward, I'm not going to get too into depth about what my calorie goals and things like that are here on this. That will be like a separate one, but I really want to focus more on for my health. I want to continue on the track that I'm at with the workouts and prepping my meals and things like that, because it has been a huge help, and I think that I want to continue on with that for at least another month. But I also for June really want to focus on our mental health. Like I had mentioned earlier, anxiety and depression just seems to be weighing so heavily, and especially for our household, I feel like the spirit of anxiety has really just deepened, and I am done. Like, I don't want to feed into this anymore, and I want to make sure that I'm covering us in all areas that we can. So for sure, we're praying over it, and just seeking to grow a closer relationship to Christ, because for me and my family, we definitely feel like when our eyes are on Jesus, the world, the heaviness of the world can kind of not feel so heavy. It is not for us to carry all of it anyways. His word says that that isn't for us to carry alone, that's his burden is light, his yoke is easy. And so I think that oftentimes we can kind of get distracted and take our eyes and our focus off. So I want to make sure that we're really, as a family, digging in deep to our devotionals, having Bible reading time, things like that. We do have a really great evening routine that is working out. Praise God, that is working out. It is working out for the kids and us. So we are reading in the evenings to them. But I just want to make sure that we're leaving room for open discussions, and to talk about it and to dive in deeper if the kids ever want to. And then we're bringing it up. It doesn't have to be anything formal. In fact, I'd rather not do anything formal for the month of June. I think we're just gonna maybe try leading some more informal conversations at dinner time, or if it's just the kids and I over breakfast, playing more worship music and just kind of talking about it, things like that. Leaving it very open and letting them know, reminding them over and over that we're always here if they want to pray. Just things like that. So that is going to be one part of our mental health, but also with the mental health, I've been reading in deeper about how our gut health affects that. And so I want to start fermenting more foods. We do brew our own kombucha. So I will go on and off again with it. But now that it's warming up, actually kombucha is a big hit in our house because it is a nice, cool, refreshing drink. So I know that that's going to be one way we can get it in. And thankfully, all of my kiddos like the flavors that we make. But there are other things that I want to be doing. I want to look into making some fermented foods and for now we're buying more, but I want to see if that is something that I can be making and we can be enjoying. Tying in with that is just making sure we're moving our bodies, we're drinking our water, because being dehydrated is not well for you, and it is not well for your mental health either, and that we are trying to get our sleep in, so the rooms are nice and cool in the evenings, and we're just doing all that we can to kind of help us out in that area. So my focus, I think, will be a little bit more on that as a whole, as a family, for the month of June. And then really that's it. I do have some reading type goals that I want to do. My son and I are thinking about making a mini reading challenge over the summer for him and I, and then we were going to go ahead and put that down in Storygraph. So if you're not familiar with that app, it is an app where you can jot down, or you can record the books that you've read or you want to read, you're currently reading, things like that, and then they have reading challenges on there, and you can create your own reading challenge. And so that's something that my son and I thought we would do over the summer, and that it would be fun for him and I, but we haven't ironed out all the details yet. When we do, I will be sure to let you know in case you want to join along with us. It's going to be something light and fun. Just another way to make sure that we're reading over the summer, and just another fun thing to throw out there, I think, for us. So that also probably could tie in with our mental health too, because I really enjoy reading as a break or an escape. But like I said, I don't have any details with that just yet, but I thought I would throw it out and mention it since that kind of ties in together. Now, that really is it for me today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and kind of going over my goals with me. I really appreciate that you take your time out of your day and spend it with me. If you have goals that I can be cheering you on with, would you list them down below, and we can kind of create this great community where we're cheering one another on and encouraging one another. I would really, really love for this space to be able to do that. If you're already a little If you're already a subscriber to our little YouTube family, thanks so much for being a part of the family. And if you're not, maybe click that subscribe button and the bell notification so we don't get lost in all your fun YouTube subscriptions. And join our little YouTube family. We'd love to have you here. And if you haven't heard today, you are deeply and truly loved and so, so appreciated. Thanks so much for watching.